Then.
Okay. So that was a demonstration in downtown San Francisco, as you could tell, some weeks ago. And thank you for coming tonight. I'm looking forward to having a great workshop. I'm the lead of the Genesis Transit Disability Justice Task Force, and my name is Carol Taylor. I want to start with a few agreements. First, we are recording this event, and two, we're allowing you to only chat with the host because there are people here who are using e-readers and the chat creates a second voice. Also, please mute yourself if you're not speaking. And we'd like people who are experienced with paratransit to put a P in front of your name. Do people know how to change the way their names appear? You can see Christine's name as a model. So tonight we're focusing on paratransit, which is its own system and needs restructuring. This matters to me because when I go to the hospital, I see people waiting for their appointments. And when I'm done and come out, they're still there. This makes me really mad. You'll learn tonight that the system we thought that was working for people with disabilities is in fact broken. Now I'd like to invite Christine Fitzgerald to unmute herself. Christine is from the Silicon Valley Independent Living Center, and she'll be presenting for us tonight.
Thanks, Carol. My name is Christine Fitzgerald. As Carol mentioned, I'm the community advocate for the Silicon Valley Independent Living Center. And what that means is I work actively with individuals and different offices within the county, within the city and state, and even nationally to address issues such as the one that we're doing tonight around paratransit. In this breakout that we're going to be doing, we're going to breaking out into 3 or 4 people in a group. And the idea is to have you try to get to an appointment that you have tomorrow up at the Center for Independent Living up in Berkeley without taking BART, without taking bus, without taking Uber or Lyft. You have to get there only by paratransit. Can you do it? So I invite you to think outside the box. I invite you to really work together to try and come up with a way of doing this process. The goal, let's look at the map first. Can we move to the next slide? As you can see, there is a little bit of distance between San Jose and Berkeley. And there are some things that you're going to have to navigate. So keep that in mind as you go through this scenario. Okay. Do we want to go ahead and break people out?
Yeah, I can go ahead and start the breakout groups.
We're about to drop the instructions for the scenario in the chat. So just want you to know that we're going to drop it into the chat so you can have it. So those of you with audio reader, we're about to drop it in.
So the addresses that you're going to have to work with are 25 North 14th Street. That's the office for Silicon Valley Independent Living Center. And we're in San Jose, California. And you're trying to get to the Center for Independence of the Disabled in Berkeley. 3075 and line.
Christine, you're talking about the Ed Roberts Center, right? On top of the BART station at Berkeley, right? You're talking the Ashby
That's
station.
correct, but we're not going to be taking BART tonight.
I know. I just want to know what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. Okay. I know that. Thank you.
You got it. Okay. Thank you.
Christina and Mary, some people are paratransit users, but haven't put a P by their name. So consider how you decide which groups we go into for breakout when some of us are paratransit users but don't have a P in front of our name.
If folks could just take a moment to do so, and if you need assistance, please let Mary or
Warren?
Hold
For
the
example.
audio now on.
Yeah, if somebody could do that for me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, this is Perla Coase. I'm a paratransit user. I don't know how to add a P to my name.
Yeah, same here.
Myself and Monica, my name's Marie, and Monica and I are both techs. If you could give us a private message, I just went ahead and put a P for Perla. Who was the other person who had asked for that?
Warren Cushman?
Hold the
Yeah,
Okay.
hello,
audio now unmuted. Share content.
hello. My computer's being weird. Yes, please.
This meeting is being recorded.
Am I muted or unmuted, guys?
You're
You're
unmuted.
unmuted
This meeting is
Thank
being
you.
in the P in front of your name now.
now, as we're waiting for the P's to be put into the name window, why don't we I don't know what happened there. Okay.
Okay, is everybody ready? Okay, I'm gonna open up the breakout rooms for everybody. And you'll have 10 minutes and I'll close them then and you'll get a time to come back.
And Monica, we're no,
Christine, you can just stay behind. And David, you can just stay behind. It's okay. Oops.
Yeah, all we do is just push the not now button.
Right. I just moved Christine back out. I see what Monica is doing. She put someone with a P because there was someone who put a P by their name, but she said, you know, I'm not versed in doing this all the time. So
Yeah.
Christine is back. It'll be okay, you guys. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Okay.
We
It-
have
it's
a total of, oh, someone left. It was Marie. It's okay.
Oh.
We have a total of about
Hmm.
7 breakout rooms of about 2 people each. 9
Oh.
breakout rooms of about 3 people each. So about
Oh.
close to 30 people present.
Wow. Okay. Do you-
is somebody gonna kind of walk through and kind of check on people, see how they're doing as they're trying to scramble to do this?
I can and I can and you can too, Monica. Anyone can. Monica, you can, because you're a co-host, you can just walk through. I'm gonna check in with Marie first. I think Marie went to put Cyrus, because this guy Cyrus was by himself. So
Oh.
Marie just now, I think Marie moved him
Okay.
to another room because Cyrus
Okay.
was by himself.
Okay.
Let me see. Marie, thanks for doing that.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I was in a breakout room with Cyrus and I couldn't hear anything that he was saying, so he left the Zoom and then he came back in and now I'm supposed to go back into a breakout room.
So for sure, someone who's a host or a co-host has to stay in the main room. People have, there's been at least 3 people that have been knocked out and have to come back in.
Oh,
Christine's suggestion, and remember, Monica's got the timer on and we've got 7 more minutes.
okay.
Christine's suggestion is that we go to the breakout rooms and make sure everyone's got enough info, like that they are all clear what the
I
Okay,
was-
I can stay here.
okay, you stay here. I'm gonna go to,
Question,
sure.
what time are we supposed to be there?
Until 6:20.
Oh,
Well,
the
no, no.
meeting is at 2:00.
2:00.
Yeah.
And we're just
thanks,
supposed to
Dave.
we're just supposed to Google around until we figure out how paratransit.
You got it,
systems
Dave.
work.
Exactly.
That's it.
What room are you in, Dave?
7.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Do you think?
Let's put Dunya in room 6. Hi, Dunya.
All right. Maybe-
Maria's going from room to room. I'm also
Okay.
going to go from room to room. So I'm going to go to
Okay.
room 9.
Okay.
And we have 6 more minutes.
Okay.
I'm hoping somebody puts me in room 7.
Oh,
Yeah,
You should be able to move through
do you
7.
see breakout rooms at the bottom, Dave?
No,
Do you see a button that says breakout rooms?
no.
Uh-oh. Because we see you as being in.
Join, oh, and then I'm sorry, there is a new button on the left. Join.
Yeah.
breakout. Yeah.
And then join, there you go. Victoria is also a Genesis leader. You can put her probably in room 1.
Okay.
Ooh.
Might have been Warren.
Oh. I wonder what they're thinking and doing. I'm just curious.
Yeah,
No, I really am. You think they got it, Christine?
I don't know. It's going to be an interesting thing.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
now I did make a mistake, and I'm wondering if they're going to catch it because what was this gentleman's name? David.
Yeah.
He,
Oh, the
he
guy.
caught it. I goofed. I failed to mention that the meaning of that too.
Yeah, you better start out at 6 in the morning. No, it's kidding.
Really. Oops.
Oh yeah.
But that is a good thing for them to learn.
Yes, it. And you know what else is interesting that we didn't mention, and we probably can, is that we never know how many people are going to be in the vehicles with us, how long it will take to drop them off, to drop us off. Remember, you know what I mean? You can't plan your day because you don't know.
Well, that is if we were going to consider it a quote unquote normal process.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. But I mean, in this process, you can't plan your day. It's really weird. It is really. Somebody mentioned that to me the other day.
I mean, instead of COVID.
Oh yeah, right. But even if we didn't have, COVID,
Yeah.
you can't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because they won't tell you in advance.
Right. Oh.
Hey, at least with COVID, we only had one person at a time in paratransit, so
Yeah.
it was a little better. Oh yeah.
We kind of bounce between the small vans and the cutaways.
Hmm. We got these large ones. It was just amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
So
you do-
here's the deal.
Okay.
Time out.
Okay.
Sorry.
We definitely have quite a few people who are experienced in paratransit in every room. They're either there or they're not. Okay, so there's a young man, and I don't know who he is. His name is coming up as Chen,
Mhm.
and then it says Vita.
Dean Chen. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's Dean.
He's just giving a little lecture about paratransit.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of afraid of. Yeah.
Well,
He's
because
letting
you know,
the cat out of the bag.
here's the deal. We didn't
Mhm.
want to sequester just because someone shows up in their experience. We don't want to exclude them from the exercise. So
I know. I'm just kidding.
So, Christine, when people come back and they're going to come back in 2 minutes, in a way, they all had different experiences of what they understood the exercise to be.
So
You
what
could
I'm
just
gonna do
go
is I'm
into your
gonna
piece.
say,
Yeah.
so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust my piece to say, for folks that have never done this before, what did you think? Could you
Good.
understand?
Yeah.
Could you understand what was needed?
Okay.
And then maybe get a comment or two, and then we can go on.
Okay, I'm gonna tell them heads up, 1 minute
Okay.
left. And then I'm gonna start, we should, Monica, we should start closing the rooms because it gives like a 60-second.
Okay. Okay, I think we're good.
And somebody's gonna have to give me a high sign to tell me, when we're all back.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Thank you, ma'am.
There's still about 30 seconds left.
Thank you kindly.
How
Okay.
far south does VTA go?
To Gilroy.
Gilroy.
Gilroy, okay.
And everybody's back.
we didn't get there.
So we could go from San Jose to Gilroy on the VTA and then transfer to the East Bay? Is that right?
But it's the opposite direction.
No.
Okay, well, let's hold off on that for a second or two, okay? So other folks that have never done this before, who here thought that that was an easy process? It was a hard process. What are some thoughts from those that have never done it before?
I'm sure. I've been taking public transit since for all my life. And so I'm not at all surprised that it's really hard to do and that it takes a huge amount of time. Yeah. And yeah, that it doesn't work very well.
Can I chime in? No, I can't, right?
Can people please raise their hands if they can to speak? Just so that people aren't speaking over each other.
Okay. Do we have a hand raised, Monica?
No, but I think Tina was next. So go ahead, Tina.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you want to say something about this?
Oh, I just was wondering what we can do, what action can we take so that they improve it? What's the plan?
Okay,
We'll
so
talk
we're gonna
about
get
that
to
later. We're not quite there yet.
Okay.
We're not quite there yet, but we're gonna get there, okay?
Thank you.
And we have a raised
No,
hand.
not a problem.
And we have a raised hand from Steve. So go ahead, Steve.
Okay, if somebody can bring up the slides again. Let's go to the page that talks about setting up the ride.
I'm sorry, I was gonna respond. I was muted. I didn't. Do I have the floor, or am I supposed to wait?
No,
You do. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I think our group got a little confused because you left, Christine, so we just stayed silent for most of it. But at the end, I did share that.
Sorry about that, guys.
It's okay. I did share that even though I'm not currently disabled, in 2000 I was temporarily disabled because I got in a traffic accident involving an 18-wheel truck. So I had to depend on paratransit because I was confined to a wheelchair for 6 months, and I lived in a second-floor apartment with only steps up to the front door. And paratransit was expensive, even when covered by insurance. You'd make an appointment and they would come an hour or so afterwards, and much of the services are privatized. And, you know, they had to carry me in a wheelchair up and down the stairs. So I have a little taste of what it's like, and it is very challenging.
And Lindsay and Stephen, right? Did I get your name correct, Stephen? Yeah?
Yes, Steve.
Steve, okay. Stephen is spot on, and the process to actually sign up for paratransit is not a simple process. We kind of played a dirty trick on you guys. We gave you the task of trying to get there tomorrow. There's no way that you're going to be able to do it tomorrow, because there are steps to take way before a ride is ever set up. Okay. Probably the biggest step is to get your information, get an application packet, fill it out, and get it back to paratransit. In this case, VTA Access Paratransit. They have up to 90 days to make a decision as to whether you are going to receive paratransit or not. Now you can appeal the decision, and you have up to 30 days to do this. Other companies may have a slightly different schedule, but the process is pretty much the same. There is a process of either being accepted or rejected and then appealing. Okay. That's only step one. Step two is putting money into the system and also making sure your information goes to, in this case, East Bay Paratransit. So in our case, we can ask Access to fax the information to the next paratransit company. And in this case, again, this is East Bay Paratransit. The one thing, the biggest thing that the person writing is going to have to remember is every system is different. Every system has a payment system that is different, and that you'll have to pay attention to. In order to set up this bigger ride, this is really a complex ride. This is not a simple ride to and from your local store. Okay. So what we showed at the beginning, showing the connecting points, otherwise known as waypoints, that's why you want to be working with the paratransit company itself and having them help you make that connection. Hey, I'm going to the Center for Independence of the Disabled up in, or Center for Independent Living up in Berkeley. I need to set up a ride with East Bay Paratransit. Let's set that up, and they have a contracted pickup and drop off point between the two companies. Okay. Once the rides are set up, can we move on to the next? And this just shows you a, okay, maybe I'm in a different arrangement. Can somebody just give me the header?
This says
Are we still
setting
on
the
setting up?
ride you need, which is a total of 4. Did you need the timeline instead?
No, we're gonna do this and then we'll show the timeline.
Okay, this one is setting the ride. You need a total of 4, and it starts with, you must set this up 1 to 3 days prior to your trip.
Alrighty. So in looking at this, and this I could pretty well say that it's across the board. Each paratransit has a slightly different process, but you have between 1 and 3 days with Access Paratransit to set up the ride. And remember, it's not just one ride, it's 4 rides in order to get there and back. Okay. And you work closely with Access to set that up. And they will help you in not only setting it up, but they will also make sure you have the contact information for East Bay Paratransit, so that when you're on the road, if there's a problem either for you or for the driver, you can be in contact with that driver. Whatever it is, whether it's a VTA Access Paratransit or whether it's East Bay Paratransit. Okay, always very important to do. Can we show them the timeline now? Now, as you can see, this is a pretty extensive timeline. Now, you know, as I said before, it's not an overnight process. And as I said, also, we were kind of stickers. We said, you have to be there tomorrow. And there's really no way that you can be there tomorrow, given the steps that you need to take in order to even do this. Okay. So, oops. And next step. This is just emphasizing the process. And you know, so this slide shows the day of. You're going to want to make sure that you have all this information on hand. So whether you write it down, whether you email it to yourself, you're going to want to have this on hand so that if you need to contact any company, you can, either company, and they can contact you. Also make sure your cell phone is charged. Very important. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Now, I think we're gonna go back into a breakout room.
Yeah, so I'll turn it back over to Carol to introduce the second breakout.
Okay, so we're going to put you in breakouts again. And this time we'd like you to consider two things. One, what is your reaction to what you just heard? And two, think about ableism. Ableism is discrimination in favor of able-bodied people. So where do you see ableism in your home or in your work, in your community? Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to open up the breakout rooms and everybody should be able to join.
We have a few. Is Christine here?
I don't.
She
know.
must have gone. We had a few people with their hands up, so when we come back, we'll just address that. I'm gonna go to a breakout room. You're gonna stay out here, right?
Yeah, I'll stay out here.
Okay. And then Warren, do you need help?
And then we're going to bring them back at 6:40, right?
That's right.
Oh, the audio now unmuted.
Sorry about that, guys. Somebody had called and we had to deal with a crisis. But I'm back. So
Left parent
I'm
Genesis right.
I joined. I'm engaged again.
Left parent Genesis
Okay,
right.
do you want me to put you in a breakout room?
Okay, sure.
Uh, Hey, we're just in breakout rooms right now. I just tried to add you to one.
that was, you know, we have a lot of there was a little bit of challenges happening in the breakout room I was in, and just had to do a little like tapping it together, and now they're doing it's coming out great. So
Who was in that one?
let me assuming I like that it is audible. I think that's really, really good. That you don't have to like tell people and they can just consent. I like that. I think that's a lot better.
Yeah.
Venetia, what did you think about that? Where do you see ableism?
I actually had to go help out my mom because she just got surgery. So I was just like, but like what I think, sorry, what was the question?
We were talking about ableism. Where do you see ableism?
I mean, I see ableism in a lot of things, like maybe like pathway, just like basically any pathways up to like any establishment.
Yeah.
You know, in schools, like sometimes like a lot of schools have like an elevator if they're 2-storied, but like it
Very
may not
good.
work, or like you have to like go through so much like to get access to the elevator, and it could be inconvenient. Yeah.
So we had a very interesting discussion in our breakout room, talking about an elevator on the ferries.
Oh. They did
And-
not.
And having the gangway on the ferry be ADA compliant as well. And that's a very difficult thing to do, because if you understand anything about rise over run, you can't go beyond 2 for 1. So for every 2 feet high, no, for every 1 foot high, you have to go 2 feet long. Okay, that's just a requirement that you have to do. And if
Actually,
you're
I
dealing
think-
with a ferry, which
I think it's 12 to 1, not 2 to 1.
well, 12 inches to 1, because that's a foot. Because if you did 12 feet to 1, your gangway would wind up at Alcatraz. I mean, you know, let's be realistic about it, okay? And
The
so
rate
yeah,
was 1, not 12 feet to 1 foot, but I think you're right, 12 inches to 1 inch.
yeah, there you go. No, 12 inches to 1 foot. I mean, 12 inches to 24 inches. Okay, so for every 2 feet, you have to go, for every 1 foot, you have to go 2 feet long.
That strikes me as too sharp to run a wheelchair up.
It is. Look, folks, there's also in San Francisco with Golden Gate, we developed telescoping gangways so that as the tide comes in and out, as the waves come in and out, the gangway will collapse or expand. It's a zigzag pattern to get onto or off from the Golden Gate ferries. But we did it some years ago.
I'm definitely gonna have to take a trip up to San Francisco. I haven't been up there in a long time. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, are
Well-
those slides available? Like this telescoping mechanism, is that available, or are you guys the sole inventors or what?
Regrettably, the guy who came up with the concept didn't try to patent it. And so Golden Gate's done it. And they've not had the brains to try to either capitalize monetarily on it. Look, I guess you could always go to Golden Gate Ferry Service and start scrolling around their website pages to see if they've got pictures of the telescoping gangplank. If not, it's at the ferry building in San Francisco, amongst other places. You know, that you can always look for that.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. David, you had some things to tell us.
You want me to do the, Do you want me to
Yes,
do the call?
indeed.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yes,
That's right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm David Mandel, a member of the San Francisco Chapter California Council of the Blind. My long-term goal is to work with others to eradicate ableism in this country and throughout the world. Here is our Disability Justice Workshop call to action. First, please sign our petition. Thanks to the encouragement and assistance of Genesis, we have launched this petition on the website change.org, calling for the restructuring of ADA required paratransit, known simply as ADA paratransit. We have two demands: that ADA paratransit be restructured as a regional, same-day, on-demand service, and that ADA paratransit be linked to the inability to drive, not to fixed route transit. Right now, if you don't live within 3/4 of a mile of a functioning bus or rail line, you can't ride paratransit at all. Again, please sign the petition and spread the word to others. We want to collect thousands of signatures, especially but not exclusively from the disability community, and eventually deliver the petition to the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, MTC, public transit agencies, paratransit brokers, transportation consultants, county transportation authorities and commissions, other Bay Area organizations, and later on to state and federal agencies and organizations. Just as Blacks fought for freedom, so we paratransit riders are fighting for freedom of movement, which is a fundamental right guaranteed under the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Next, please ask your Congress members to sponsor HR 3744. Earlier this month, Georgia Democratic Congress member Henry Johnson introduced the Stronger Communities Through Better Transit Act. It would give $80 billion in operating funds over 4 years to public transit systems across the country for more frequent bus and rail service, especially in poor and disadvantaged communities. Not only do we want pre-pandemic service to be restored, but we also want significant improvements to that service. Again, please ask your Congress members to sponsor HR 3744. Finally, please embrace and integrate the civil and human right of accessibility in your daily life. Genesis calls this making an accessibility shift. Think about how you benefit from curb cuts, low floor buses, or the yellow tactile edging on BART platforms. Here are some ways you can promote accessibility. If the building where you work has steps, make sure it also has ramps for people who use wheelchairs and walkers. If you distribute printed material, offer it in alternate formats, such as Braille, large print, audio, and email. Make sure your website is accessible. Deaf people often prefer videos of documents in sign language rather than written documents. Remind cognitively disabled people you may know about important dates and appointments. You can always consult organizations such as independent living centers and the California Council of the Blind for assistance and referrals. This, then, is our call to action. We very much appreciate your support.
Hey. Thank you, David. And thank you all for participating. Our purpose tonight is to clarify our fight. This is why we need you to act, to sign the petition, call your member of Congress, and make your access shifts.
Carol,
I
we
wish you could
have
go-
four.
where do I get the
This is Mary,
petition?
and I have four. We have 4 people that have chatted me with questions, and I'm going to call
okay,
your
sorry.
name. I'm going to call your name, okay? And I think Dean, you're the first person. You've had your hand up.
Yeah,
Is there
where
a
do I get
question
the
that you have?
petition? Where do I get the petition? Because I'm gonna send it, I'm going to the Lighthouse. They're having a camp this week. I'm going to Lighthouse all week. But
We will
where do
send
I get
you.
this petition? And so I could go to Silicon Valley CCB or De Anza College. Where do I get this petition? I don't.
Dean, they're putting it in town, but they're also gonna send it to you, okay?
When are you gonna send it to me? Because I'm gonna the lighthouse thing is end this week, so
So
just
can
wanna-
we make sure that that goes to Dean ASAP?
Yep.
Okay, and then yeah, and then I sent it to CCP and Mike Keesley and all.
You got
Unless
it.
Debbie wants to do that, but
Yep.
and all
That boy. Okay, go on to the next person.
The next person is a 510-459-8794 phone.
Oh, I think that was up from a while ago. This is
Okay.
KG. That's okay.
Okay, that's okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
KG.
Great call to action. Thank you.
Okay, and then Steve, you also had your hand up and then it went down. Was it all resolved? Steve,
Yeah, I withdraw.
okay. And then last person I saw was, I think, Emmanuel. They chatted me. Emmanuel. Yeah, Emmanuel.
Okay. You can call me Anthony in this case.
Okay.
I actually have a question regarding the fundamentals of ADA, like a paratransit service. Currently, when you say ADA and paratransit as a transportation planner, I understand that the limit for the catchment area for ADA is 3/4 of a mile from a transit stop or a railway stop. But now, with the pandemic and not a lot of buses are running, that means a lot of the handicapped persons are not able to use paratransit because their transit services have been canceled or suspended. Basically, my call to action in this case is there a way to actually, is there actually a petition right now for, aside from fixed paratransit to rewrite part of that mandate to say, can we expand the catchment area from 3/4 of a mile to at least 2 miles, if not even close to what Uber and Lyft do? Because from what I understand, I really think that paratransit can do much better to a point that it can complement, if not outright supplement, what the ride-sharing companies already do to begin with.
Okay,
Emmanuel,
we're gonna
I can
pause
answer that.
and David or Christine, who wants to answer that?
I can answer.
Go ahead, David.
Okay, I'll answer it. The thing is that the ADA is the bedrock. It's the floor. Any paratransit agency can go well above and beyond the ADA. There is no reason. But in this case, if they stick to the ADA, they will not pick people up if they do not live within the prescribed boundary.
Thanks, David.
I'm
Christine
gonna
wants
take
to
it-
sneak in. Go ahead.
I'm going to take it a little bit further and answer Anthony a little bit better as to what has been happening with COVID. So you're 100% right, Anthony. A lot of the fixed route systems, AC Transit, VTA, San Francisco Transit, had to reduce the number of rides, reduce the number of buses that they ran. And this did affect how paratransit works. You're 100% on target with that. As things have changed and opened back up, they brought everything back. Now, here in Santa Clara County, what they did was we said, hey, wait a minute, because you're limiting the rides, you're also limiting people's ability to get around. Is there a way that we can suspend, for the time being, not the 3/4 of a mile? That was not possible to suspend, but what we asked them to suspend was the concept of not running paratransit in an area where a bus was not running. So in other words, if you lived on 223 bus route, and that bus route was discontinued because of COVID, and it didn't go where you needed it, it didn't get to your place at all during this entire time, so you would have been stuck. We said, hey, wait a minute, you can't do that. And so they honored that. They said, yeah, we won't limit the rides because of COVID.
So
But
we've got 2 more questions, Christine, just so you know. I don't know, is there like a way to wrap this question up?
I'm done. Next person.
Okay, Remy and then Debbie, and then we're gonna close out this this workshop.
And
Remy,
we
you
did
had
a
your
really
hand
good
up?
video to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have that video, yeah.
Yeah, kind of a follow-on question to this. The cost of paratransit is extremely high because of the cost of the vehicle, union driver labor, because it's basically it's a 15+ minibus, and so it's not really practical. So I'm wondering if the counties and cities can put a fee on Uber and Lyft and use that fee money to subsidize people who are disabled that need transport, and they can just use standard Uber Lyft service. And Uber actually has had a special training for people to deal with disabled persons transit.
Christine,
So
can I answer that one?
yeah.
Christina, can I answer that one? Because that's discussed with me with the city of San Jose. And you know what I told them? I told them that a lot of the Lyft and the Uber driver don't have those special training. You need to have a special training to drive paratransit. And they don't have that.
And we're David. Sorry, we're rain just went right out the window. Sorry about that, guys. And we're dealing 100% on target, saying that Uber and Lyft are not required to actually provide the rides per se. They have to contract with a local company, so they have to contract with VTA Paratransit, or even separate from VTA Paratransit. They have to contract with the local transit, with the local paratransit provider, with the company that provides the actual vans to the paratransit company. See, it's very complicated. So we're just giving you the very top, the edge of it.
Okay, we're gonna do one last question, and then we have a video. And also just in an invitation, the point was that to educate ourselves. I think I'm quoting Bob Planhold. We're all one accident away from needing paratransit ourselves. So the system is broken and it treats humans not like humans is the thing that I always think about. So Debbie, what's your last question?
It's not a question, it's a brief comment. As an experienced paratransit rider, I am familiar with the hypothetical trip that Christine planned. I will tell you that the landing zone for people traveling from the East Bay to San Jose or the other reverse is Fremont BART, and the landing zone to go to from Silicon Valley to San Mateo and up in that county is VA Hospital. So in both of those places, you do wait for the next transit to pick you up. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. And fun fact, there's two Debbies. And so there's Debbie Toth. Go ahead, Debbie.
Never enough Debbies in the room, I just want to say. So, David, I don't know you, but I need to know you. I think you should be the president. And we have work to do together. I want to just tell you what in particular, everything you said was amazing, but I appreciated that you talked about different kinds of disability, physical, age-related, sort of encompassing everybody. And I will tell you, I work at an organization, one of the programs we provide is adult day healthcare. And one of our Alzheimer's, late stage Alzheimer's monolingual Russian speakers got dropped off at a park instead of our adult day healthcare program by a paratransit driver yesterday. Yesterday or the day before.
Oh my God.
With and left by herself. The things that happen and the things I have seen, I cannot begin to tell you. And I so am grateful that this forum has happened. I will tell you, we've been working on this. I've been working with John Cunningham. He will not associate himself with me, but we have been working on this for 20 years together and made zero progress. And being in this room tonight has given me a level of hope I have never had with transportation. I was on the stakeholder advisory committee for the master plan for aging, and they completely discarded our entire section on transportation when they
Yep.
released the plan. I can't tell you, I just am so grateful to be here, and I'm so looking forward to what's next. We've done pilot projects, we've tried different things, so we have a lot to add to the conversation, Christine. It is just the tip. You're right.
Thanks.
It is
Debbie,
just
you're
a
gonna
tip.
really like the way that we're gonna end this meeting. We have, and just shout out to our two techs, Marie